Well, hello, 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 fellow addicts. Welcome back to Addicts Live, the place where we let our inner crazy out. And oh, crazy we are. For those who don't know me, my name is Alyssa, your resident head addict. And my co-host this week is the one, the only cranky old guy, a.k.a. Patrick. Glad to have him back. Glad he survived his Jersey trip and the mobsters didn't get him.
You actually had something to do with that, didn't you? You had your boys lay off, right? I didn't see them anywhere. I went to Rita's 3 times. I didn't see them once. They knew where I would be.
I'm surprised you only went 3 times.
We'll have another conversation about Rita's, but I was profoundly disappointed. We went out of our way at one point to go back to the one that was a bit of a drive because they were going to have the root beer flavor. They were out of the root beer. They only had sugar-free root beer.
Ooh.
That should be illegal. Sugar-free root beer, I mean, it tasted like saccharin. You don't mix saccharin with that. Oh.
If you're diabetic, it's good, but
but again, it's a little bit of a loss when you're mixing it on top of the frozen custard.
Yes, right? Yes. So when you're making a gelati out of it, yes, it's not. Yeah. It's not. I have a Rita's right around the corner from my house. So.
That I know it's those.
But we don't go that often, honestly. Although the baby likes Rita's, so we've been having a lot more Rita's this year than last year.
I only go to Rita's, if you're looking at a per capita per year, I probably don't go as much as you do, but I do so in a solid week's period. I go 3 times.
That's true. Times. Although I grew up on it, so we don't go all that often. My husband doesn't like it. He's not a big Rita's. He doesn't like custard. He doesn't like custard. What? He'd rather have real ice cream.
I liked your husband up until this point. It's great. I think we need to see if we can get Rita's as a sponsor. I think we need.
Yeah, we should try. All
right.
Eat Rita's. The Wookster may pop in, may not. He's without internet at the moment. They're repairing his internet as we speak, hopefully. So he may come on, he may not. So and Safi, Super Safi, is overseas this week. He is in Copenhagen. So he said he may pop in to say hi. I told him not to, but he loves you guys, so he may. But otherwise, he won't be with us this week. And hopefully, he's enjoying his trip. And now it's time for your regular reminder. You guys should all know what I'm about to say. For those watching this live, this is meant to be interactive, so share your questions and comments below us here and join in the fun. So let's get started. Teaser this week in Springfield, or teaser week in Springfield, I should say. From the Cayman Island banker teaser to the actual release that the next event will be Itchy and Scratchy Land. Pretty cool. It's been a week for sure. Despite knowing what the next event will be, please take a minute to answer the poll question below because I thought it would be fun. It's still a fun way to do it, and we'll share our answers in a little bit. The poll question is: which Krusty-centric event would you be more likely to enjoy? Clown College, Krusty Land Part 2, or Krusty gets busted by the IRS? So we'll share our answers in a little bit, but let's talk about. We'll kick things off with talking about the teaser. What do you make of the teaser content and dialogue? Taking it out of the context of the fact that we know what's going to happen next, and we'll talk about why the two have nothing to do with each other. But
I was just going to say, I'm so confused. Go ahead.
What do you think about the little 3-part quest line, the little plane? I know you love a plane, and the premium character that popped in with this this teaser.
I had to restrain myself from writing a mini rant about the laziness once again. So in the dialogue, we see Krusty the Clown talking about his great jet airplane that he has. It's great to have a private jet, right? It's not a jet. It's a little Piper Cub. The airplane that they have is a little Piper Cub. Don't try and pass off a Piper Cub as a jet, Krusty. I'm sorry. I don't care how crazy you are. But no, it's the only tie-in looking ahead that we can't talk about. There is one line in there that kind of ties the two together. The rest of it is like, what? What are we talking about here? What? I don't get it. So yeah, it was an interesting diversion. Let's call it a diversion, shall we?
And now everybody's going to go scour the dialogue word for word to see if they can figure out what you're talking about. And the word Patrick means could be like the could be, or land, land could be Itchy and Scratchy Land. He could say, I'm buying a piece of land, and then it's Itchy and Scratchy Land. So,
or Caymans. It could be Caymans.
Exactly.
Yeah, for gosh sakes, look up Caymans and figure out what goes on there with Itchy and Scratchy Land. I've said too much. I'm sorry.
You're right, though. It is a dinky little plane. And it's small, too. It's pretty small in comparison to some of the other planes. It looks kind of weird at the airport.
It's like a Piper Cub. It's out of proportion if it's a Piper.
Yeah.
Boy, I stumbled on that one. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Too much coffee this morning.
It's a weird teaser, but the teasers are always weird. They're always sometimes they have something to do. This stuff's all from Bart the Frink, and that seems kind of weird for Itchy and Scratchy Land. But it's all like, I don't know. They always have like one little piece from it that tips you off as to what it could be. So for Homer Palooza, I think that was the first one we had a teaser, and we got the stunt cannon, where Homer gets hit in the belly with the cannonball.
Still one of my favorite animations, by the way.
And that's, that was the tip off for Homer Palooza. So it's like, you really have to kind of think outside the box. Fortunately, now we don't have to think outside the box because we know what's coming. But so it's kind of weird. And it's interesting to see how EA likes to torment us because, I think a lot of us all thought it would be Clown College. I mean, it's funny because the rundown for this show, the show notes we do, I came up with all the topics before we knew it was coming. So like I have all this stuff to talk about that is not even relevant anymore.
So wait a minute. Here's the thing. It sees as we're under an NDA. We just told them it's not Clown College, kind of, in some weird way. Well, do we have to do everything in pantomime? Is that still legal?
Well, we know it's Itchy and Scratchy Land. I don't know if Clown College will play anything to do with it, but common sense would tell me Itchy and Scratchy Land has nothing to do with Clown College. I mean,
yeah, that teaser though. Don't forget the Caymans. Whoa!
But they do that. They do that too with the little cryptic things they write in the app stores for the next event. They always write like these cryptic little messages, and you're like, okay, well, and some stuff doesn't even apply for like a year and a half, So.
I don't think anybody's going to be surprised to hear that the Scientologists have a headquarters in Cayman Islands as well. So I think it's one of those things that if you just keep digging deeper and deeper into the Caymans, you're going to figure this out. It's
not an episode unless we bring up Scientology, is it?
No. Thought I'd get it out of the way now.
Good. Get it out of the way early. So yeah, it's like very vague. I actually myself have to go back and read the dialogue because I read it real quick, so I don't even know what Pat's talking about. It is. It's very vague. It's very with relation to the teaser content, very vague in what's happening in what's actually going to happen with the next event. So it's interesting that they did that, but it's filler. It's something to do for a week. People wanted another week of downtime. Listen, a 3-part quest line is not going to kill anybody. It's real simple, real easy. Plus, you get a free decoration. No one really should complain about that. That's my 2 cents.
So I have one more thing to say. This new relationship with EA is actually diabolical on their behalf because we have been going for years now, more than half a decade, it seems, not revealing anything, not really knowing. I mean, having a pretty good idea, but not really knowing. Back in the olden days, they used to drop a lot of the content would be sitting there for weeks, at least a week. You would know way ahead of time kind of what's coming. That all went away about 2 years ago. Is that right? 2.5 years ago?
No, that went away like 5 with Game Xeno. The Game Xeno fiasco, that really made all of that go away, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, that's all. It is what it is. The bottom line is,
it's been 5 years. I think I can mention that without.
Actually, that strikes still a little home. I started to twitch. But the thing that's interesting is that now we're stuck in this weird, torturous position of not being able to tell anybody anything because it's got, just so you guys know, there's a very specific calendar that lays out. You can say this, then, and that's it. And if you break the NDA, you're off the team. So we really are bound not to be able to tell anybody anything, which is its own form of torture. You have to admit. I mean, it's like they're getting back at us in some weird way for coming up with the term "elp."
Well, they're getting back at you for that. I didn't do that. I've been nothing but nice to EA for the last 5 years. I mean,
They did accept me. We were a little nervous that they would even accept the NDA.
I was.
Team. Yeah.
But I've been nothing but nice to EA for 5 years. Although I have had my moments where I yell at them, and usually I'm pregnant when I do. But I yell at a lot of people when I'm pregnant.
She's pregnant now, folks. So.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a weird place to be in, because we don't know everything, and we'll make that clear. There's a lot of stuff, and just like when we see stuff in the game files, I know what's coming, and we all know, because I put all the info out there in the back end of the site, and we know what's coming, in Act 2, Act 3, how long everything's going to run, all that stuff, but we never know the intricacies of how something's going to work. So it's always an interesting dynamic to see it in the game itself.
Say nothing of the bugs. We never know when there's going to be bugs.
We never know when there's going to be bugs. But it's interesting this time because it puts us in a weird conundrum, because there's things that we know that are going to make people happy. There's things that we know that are going to piss people off. And there's things that we know, like we can be like, oh, do this and, you'll be set. But we can't do that. So it's like a weird place to be in if you're a tips, this is another one I said after 5 years.
Let's just tie them all together. Now let's say Alan. There we go. Boom! The whole world destroys itself.
But being a TSTO, support site, basically. I mean, that's what we look at ourselves, a community of people just wanting to help each other. It's a weird place to be in for us because we know this stuff. We can't talk about it. It's like Fight Club,
There you go. There you go.
So
it's interesting, though, what I see, and I think I posted this in one of the comment sections. I don't see a whole lot that's going to upset anybody. I think that
somebody's always going to be pissed off. People were pissed off at Christmas, so
that's true. That's true. I mean, I guess the way I look at it, there's going to be degrees. It will settle itself in. It will take care of itself. I feel pretty confident that this is going to be a nice quantum shift that will make people go, I never saw that coming.
But the nice thing too is we have a heads up, and we can be like, look, guys, this is going to be good, or this is going to be bad. So we can kind of give you guys that little warning, because I've been doing this so long, and Pat's been doing this so long. I don't get excited about much lately with the game. Like, I got excited at Christmas. It was 2 acts. We got Jesus. It was a really good event. But Christmas is also my favorite time of the year. Yeah.
You were pregnant. You weren't pregnant.
No, I was not pregnant.
Okay.
Well, I was at the very end, but that doesn't count.
Okay.
I wasn't pregnant enough for it to really impact.
That's why you were so cranky at the end. I couldn't remember.
That's why I was so cranky during Bart Royale.
Good point. Yeah.
But no, so, it doesn't. When was the last time I got excited about an event? I mean, honestly, like the monorail was fun, but I didn't get super excited about it. So it's been a while. So just reading what's coming, reading how it's going to play out, I'm actually pretty stoked for this. Now, of course, that doesn't really mean much because it hasn't actually hit. And for all we know, it could fall flat on its face. That's not uncommon for some things. But, I'm going to be curious to see how they pull it off, to be honest with you. There's enough going on. I'm going to tell you that. There's enough going on that it's going to be one of those, how are they going to make this work programming wise? It's going to be interesting. That's all I can say. Yes. And with all the other issues that are going on, yes. I mean, and we'll talk more about the rollback in a little bit, the update on that. But my face is twitching again. So, anyway. But they've had so many bugs lately. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Let's see. So now I have to skip all the stuff about what this next event will be, so we can, because we already know. We were going to spend some time talking about thoughts about what the next event could be. I already know. I don't know. I just can't tell you. So we could look, super telepathic and be like, the next event is going to be Itchy and Scratchy Land, and then look like geniuses. Wow. But which is always fun when we are correct in predictions. But so
if we were really good, we would have this conversation about the one after this event. So what's the next one after this event? And where's Sarah Wiggum, damn it? So, I'm sorry.
So the next event after this event should be in August.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, I'm not really going to care that much. So
yeah, I was going to say, talking about Babyland.
I'm not going to care all that much.
No.
But the August events are usually kind of meh anyway, because it's the end of the summer and everybody seems like they just throw half-assed into it. So it's we'll see what August will bring. But how about you guys watching? Share what you guys think this event will bring, because I'm afraid to say anything because I could be right, I could be wrong, and I don't want to get in trouble. So you guys watching, share what you think is going to come with the event, what you'd like to see with an Itchy and Scratchy Land event in the comments, and we'll talk about them in a couple minutes. I'll give you some time to share those comments. Pat, did you buy the Cayman Island Banker? Back to the teaser that's not a teaser.
I did not. I had the donuts. I did not buy them. It's one of those things where I think you hit it on the head on the should I buy. Unless you're a total gotta have it all freak. I mean, a total completist. Some of these characters are, who cares? I don't need the what he does. I don't get it. It's a little tiny smidge of something in one episode. Nah, I didn't do it.
I bought him. I kind of regret buying him. I know. I don't follow my own advice sometimes.
Hold on a second. You regret buying him? I feel so much better now.
Okay. I do regret buying him. But I bought him. The worst part is I bought him after I knew what he did, because I already bought him in my B-Town and did everything. So that's the worst part.
Wow.
But no, sometimes I have these moments where like I won't buy a character and then I regret it like 4 months later. I'm like, why didn't I buy? Like Sophie Krusty. I didn't buy her when she first came out because I thought she was overpriced and didn't do much. And then like for the whole year after that Christmas, I regretted not getting her. And then when she came back and I wanted to get her, it was really difficult to get her because we had to use those tickets. Remember the tickets 2 Christmases ago?
Right.
It was really annoying. So, sometimes I have that moment where I'm like, I'm not 100% sure if I should or shouldn't. I just buy it because I'll regret it later down the road. And hey,
Okay, so I do the same thing. I admit it. If I go into my premium section, there's a few that I still haven't bought. And for whatever reason, I had an extra bunch of donuts and just bought the band leader. My brain just went dead on his
Huey Largo.
There we go, Huey Largo. And I'm glad I have him, whatever. I don't know why I didn't buy him at the time, particularly because I'm into music, whatever. I have no idea. I'm sure it was some, boycott that I was doing at the time. Damn you, EA. But the only one recently that I let slip by, I got caught off guard by a date, which I should be much better at, is the character that has the mega superstore that we just had.
Oh, Arthur Fortune.
There we go. I didn't buy him. And when I saw in Ebron's town, I saw him fly by in a balloon. It's like, damn it. I love things that fly.
See, guys, Addict staff, they're just like you. They don't pay attention to my posts either.
No, I was going to buy it, but I was going to wait until the very end because I didn't want to clutter up the event, and I missed it by hours. I was really torqued. So I wasn't like really torqued. But
don't feel too bad because he'll come back and you'll probably be able to get him for a discount.
I hope so.
That's what happens these days.
I hope so.
So yeah, I bought him. He's not Cayman Island Banker. I have Arthur Fortune too, but Cayman Island Banker, I bought him. He's not anything to write home about. I mean, like I said, I kind of regret it, but
he's not super dynamic. I could tell, and even the art, I couldn't tell if it was. I don't know. He looks like several other characters that I don't remember their names. So.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't buy Jack the Ripper with the last event, and not because he was Jack the Ripper, but because I didn't care and. I didn't really care about getting Scotland Yard because some people had that design aspect like Pat and stuff, and I just didn't care. So I refused to spend 200 donuts on it. So I was like, yeah, whatever.
It's funny is I'm being driven more by buildings and design now than I am by characters, and because that last episode, if you go into my town, probably newest, best section of town is my Italy, London section. It's pretty. It's really nice. It's Ebron inspired. Even though Ebron has made it very clear, I know you're listening. She's made it very clear she's tired of her name being bandied around as being an expert, and I apologize for elevating you above something that you're comfortable with. But darn, you have nice town. Yeah, you still have a nice town. So there we go.
I told her she could come and design my backyard. You know.
Yeah, she probably could.
We went to Home Depot this morning because we had to get mulch for our front beds, and we usually change out the flowers every year because we buy annuals and they die. Yeah. I probably spent 45 minutes trying to figure out what kind of flower to buy.
Oh yeah, I know. We have the reverse problem right now. Is that Oregon right now is in its giant growth spurt period with trees and shrubs and everything else. Our backyard is a jungle. It is absolutely, everything just went nuts in the last month. Yeah. And so we're like beating back with machetes, and it's unbelievable. So there's no room for bedding plants yet. So anyway.
All right, let's get to a couple comments. So let's see. Amy says, I'm really happy that we're going to be getting an Itchy and Scratchy Land event. I remember watching the episode and I saw a bunch of buildings from the episode and thought they should add those to TSTO. What kind of decorations do you think they could add to the game? Stuff from Itchy and Scratchy Land.
Yeah, we know we can't tell you.
What kind of characters do you think they could add to the game after, other than a playable Itchy, Scratchy, and Poochie? Maybe they could add Bort and or Bort's mom. I saw some weapons walking in the parade. Oh, in that episode. So maybe they could be NPCs, stuff. They're going to add characters. Should I be clearing out space in my Krusty Land for this event? I don't know if it's going to be in Krusty Land or not. Although I have not been affected by the rollback glitch, and hopefully I won't be. I was impacted by the logging glitch and was posted about on Tuesday, or that was posted about on Tuesday. And by following the instructions, I was able to log back into my Springfield and play my game normally by a couple of times. But a couple of times I would log into my game and it wouldn't be my town. It was someone else's. Then I wouldn't recognize. So I just log out and log back in, and it would be back to my own town. Everything would be fine.
Yeah.
That kind of worries me a little bit, because that was an issue where you would log into somebody else's town. That was an issue 4 years ago. That was a big issue because people would get into somebody else's town, spend all their donuts and stuff, and then realize it wasn't like all of a sudden somebody gets into a town and they had no donuts, and now they have thousands, and they're like, what the? And they spend them, and then they realize it's not their town. That was a big issue.
From a technical aspect, I think this is almost predictable, in that they've clearly got some things going on with the database that they're trying to fix. And I think when that happens, they're going to boot everybody out, make you log back in. They warned us this time. They actually sent out a warning saying, that this could happen, or it may happen, or it will happen. And everybody pretty much had to log back in. When you do that, you're kind of telling the world, we're having issues with our database, so be prepared. And I'm I can't really let go of how this thing is happening, this rollback glitch, or any of the other ones. Really, there's clearly something that is whacked in one of the databases that is corrupted, that is a whole bank of servers of some sort. Whether it's geographic, it doesn't appear to be. I don't know. I'm kind of jumping ahead on the conversation here, but all of these glitches, most of them are minor. They're little teeny things that have to do with the server not looking at the referential database. This rollback thing is an entirely different beast, and we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
One random shoe says, it'd be nice for something to be done with Krusty Land. However, with the glitch, I'm stuck in again of having to re-download 786.9 megabytes update every time I open the game. I've tried to explain this issue tonight to EA, and in fairness, they replied quite quickly, but can't understand what I mean. From what I was told in their last email, this is part of the game. Developers adding updates every single time the game is open. Oh, this is making me nuts because it's wrong. Developers adding updates every single time the game is open. That, of course, is wrong, and it's honestly stressing me and depressing me. This redownload issue has existed since December. For a few weeks, it was gone until it appeared 2 days ago. It's cost me a lot of money and data top-up since each gameplay is almost 100 gigabyte in download. I'm at the end of my rope, and I believe it's time to say goodbye to Springfield. One random shoe. Listen to me. Okay? I don't even know if you're watching, because some people just comment and then they run away. Listen. Okay, I'm going to explain this, and I'm going to explain this to everybody watching. When that happens, that's an issue with your phone or your tablet or your whatever you're playing TSTL on. That means you have not enough space free in your game or on your device. Okay, so all you have to do is free up space. So that might mean move some videos, move some photos. Like for me, I have an Android. I have an external SD card. I always move any video I take to my external SD card so it doesn't take up too much space on my phone. You need 3.5 to 4 gigabytes of free space to play this game. Anything less than that, you're automatically going to trigger the re-download.
And that's cache space. That's random access space. So it's not just storage space.
I recommend 5 gigabytes or more. So while it sucks, this game is a giant data suck as far as how much space it takes up. Like, it is massive. If you want it to stop doing that, free up space on your phone or your tablet. I don't know what you're playing on, but I promise you it will fix it. It'll download it once after you free up the space and clear up enough room. It'll download it once and then it won't happen again until you max out your space again.
And please play on Wi-Fi at all costs, every chance you get, because this thing is a data pig. I mean, it will burn your phone up in 3 sessions.
Speaking from experience, because last time I saw him, he almost maxed out his data. So,
and there you go.
So yeah, move some of your space. If this is happening to you or anyone, if you're getting that constant download, move some of your items, delete apps you're not using, move photos. I recommend getting something like Google Photos. It backs up all your photos automatically, and then you can delete them off your phone and they're on the Google Photos app. And it's stored on a cloud, so it's not in your device.
Yeah, there's a million of those out there. I mean,
even a Dropbox.
Yeah, Amazon has a free one with Prime. There's a whole bunch of them out there. So yeah, I mean, pick a device that you want to play on. Part of this is also the multi-device thing. If you're also low on one device, it's going to not close it down properly, and then your other device may open it up, and you try and go back, and it's going to mess the whole thing up. So pick a device that you mostly play on, and make sure you keep that clear. So, anyway.
Sorry, Wookie is texting me.
Oh,
he said there's no internet guy there yet.
Oh, yeah, they'll show up between 9 and 4.
My dad had that happen the other day with the people that were supposed to fix his air conditioner. They said they'd be there between 8 and 12, and then they called it like 11, and we're like, "Oh, we're running late. We'll be there between now and 4." And he's like, "No."
Yeah, that's so idiotic. I don't know how those industries get away with it, but you're desperate. You're desperate.
Yes.
Anyway.
All right. Just a couple of things about the event, a couple of reader things. This is actually from the teaser, or not the teaser, but yeah, the spoiler post. So let's see. A lot of people are asking for or thinking rampaging robots will be a given. They're also hoping for Bort. They're also hoping it has something to do with Krusty Land. Let's see. I think it'd be fun if there was like a camera element in this, and I that's something I literally don't know, guys. Really, honestly, I'm speaking from a place of I know nothing about this, but I think it'd be fun if there was some kind of element with cameras.
Yeah, I mean, to be specific, this information they gave us is relatively general. I mean, it's specific enough to know what's happening when, but the real details of how the gameplay and everything else, they didn't just drop the whole thing on us. So there's going to be lots and lots of surprises for everybody, including us. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people are asking if they should save up their Krusty Land tickets. I'm going to tell you guys, don't do anything different than you normally would play. Like, you go to Krusty Land, go to Krusty Land. If you don't go to Krusty Land, don't go to. I'm not going to tell you. There's nothing you should be doing different at the moment. So that's that. So don't stress, don't freak out. There's nothing you should be doing differently, other than donut farm, because if you donut farm, you should donut farm because an event's coming. You're gonna have to spend donuts.
There you go.
All right, Pat, let's take a second. Let's go over the poll question, which is the which Krusty centric event would you be more likely to enjoy, which is Clown College, Krusty Land Part 2, Krusty gets busted by the IRS. Which one would you be more likely to enjoy?
I always want to do the clown college. I have a tenuous relationship with the IRS. It always just hear it mentioned. So it's anybody's been in business for more than 10 years has a personal relationship at some point. But the clown college thing, it's one of my favorite Krusty. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I'm kind of the same place as you. I'd rather see Clown College. I mean, I was not a massive fan of Krusty Land when it came out. I mean, it was fun because it was something to do, and but wasn't a huge fan. But the readers also tend to agree with you because only 6% said they want to see a Krusty gets busted by the IRS event.
There you go. I'll go so far as how adamant I am about my dislike and distaste for that personal relationship. I haven't even developed my IRS building to be able to expand out. I've kept it in a relatively motley state just because that's the way I see the IRS right now. They are a motley state. But I don't know how big my radius is, but it takes me more than it should. Everybody says, well, just make your tap radius bigger. No, I have to improve the IRS building to do that. I refuse. This is where you get old and crazy. This is where the old and crazy comes in. So there you go.
You definitely are old and crazy.
Yes, I am.
So the rest of the results, they look like they're pretty much split between Clown College and Krusty Land Part 2. About 47% said Clown College and almost 46.5% said Krusty Land Part 2. So
yeah,
they're pretty evenly split between the two, and that seems to make sense because a lot of people have been looking for something for Krusty Land for a while. It's like, here's this land we have with all this space, and they ain't doing anything with it when we have limitations in Springfield. So right. I get that. I understand that. And the Clown College has been teased. I feel like that's been teased. Gosh, for what, 8 months now?
At least.
So it's I get it. And this could end up being that. I don't know how it's actually going to all work out. I don't know what teaser we'll see with the next. We're
going to find out that the Scientologists run the Clown College from the Cayman Islands. That's how this is all going to come out.
There you go. And Glenn Tanum 11 says, I do not think this event will happen in Krusty Land simply because many new players do not have Krusty Land yet and will be left out of the game. I do see all of the items being able to be moved to Krusty Land later, like items can be placed in either place. That's a good point. I mean, Krusty Land, I think, triggers at level 15. So, and it's pretty quick to get to level 15. So, yeah. It's kind of a toss-up. We've had levels that were Krusty Land centered. Level 43 with Princess Penelope was Krusty Land focused. So,
wow, that was a pretty good pull. That was a little Rain Man-ish right there. How many toothpicks?
All of the data from TSTO is here. But if you ask me where I put my car keys, my answer will be I have no idea. I couldn't remember yesterday. Riley has to have a registration fee for school paid for next year. And I couldn't remember if I paid it. I had to have my husband search the checkbook. I called the school. I was like, did I pay that? They're like, yeah, you paid it as soon as I told you it was due. And I'm like, oh, yeah, my brain doesn't work too good these days. So
we should get blame mine on being pregnant because that would be unusual. But
pregnancy and being a mom, your brain's in 50 and doing this because my brain is so full of TSTO stuff that has no room for anything else.
There you go.
All right, let's talk real quick about some of the glitches and bugs we've been having. The one was the login bug, which is pretty easy to resolve. I wrote a post about it on Thursday morning, I think, Wednesday. And, it's simple. If you log in and it says, something's wrong, hard close, go back in, try it again. Or if you're still having issues, uninstall, reinstall TSTO. This one should be pretty easy to fix. It's just like a weird random blip in the login process.
It does. Again, if we have to remind anybody at this point to make sure you have an actual account with a real, username and password, and you're not just playing randomly. I mean, if anybody's playing randomly at this point,
and you lose your Springfield, don't cry to me.
Yeah, it's like boo-hoo. We've only said it 5,000 times. So anyway,
yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
Exactly. So, but that one's pretty easy to fix. And most people, actually, everybody I've seen has had it resolved by uninstalling, reinstalling if nothing else works. Some people who didn't have it resolved it's because they refuse to uninstall and reinstall. I can't help you if you don't want to follow the way you have to fix it.
Right.
But when all else fails with things, uninstall and reinstall usually helps. Unplugging something, hard closing something, like if your TV doesn't work, unplugging it, plugging it back in usually helps.
It's rebooting. I mean, so it's part of the hard close is you're actually clearing the cache off your device. So right now, just as an example, and maybe you're going to talk about this as well, the lag issue, I only see it when I've got multiple things going on. It popped up when they added the ability to grab big chunks of road and everything else. That's when I started to see it. So I only really start to lag when I go to clear all my KEMs, and then I have to wait like 20 seconds. Well, if I clear everything else going, I'm fine. But if I also hard start my device, it's fine. It's cool. Yeah. So it is a cache issue with the machine as well.
It's a good tip for a lot of things, hard close, and like it's just rebooting. Like your computer has an issue, you shut it off, you turn it on again. That's usually what helps with this game. Except in this case, hard closing is what reboots it.
And I will say too, one more thing to those who have never done an uninstall because you're terrified you're going to lose your town. You do not lose anything as long as you have an account. Yes, as long as you have an ID. And it's relatively quick and easy.
And if you ever get that pop-up that says your other device hasn't saved, what do? Ignore it, hit continue, hit play now, you'll be fine. As long as you don't have another device, you're fine. If you have another device, you're likely fine too, because I do that all the time. And I don't have any issues. It's something that's been going on since 2013. Whenever you log in and out of your game, it tells you that. It means nothing, so ignore it. Just play through.
Yeah, I lost one time. I lost, some donuts I had farmed because I didn't shut down the other device and just kept plodding through. But what it did was maybe go back and grab the donuts again. So it wasn't a big deal. So.
All right, and then about the rollback bug, there's finally some kind of resolution for players. They're not great options. You either can have a rollback, and I wrote a post about this Thursday morning. You either can get your game rolled back to the last known point, which is something we've been talking about for a while now. And EA said, we're not all EA reps. Some EA reps on the phone said, we're not rolling back games anymore. Now they're saying they will. So you can either get your game rolled back or you can get a new Springfield. I don't recommend getting a new Springfield just based on what I've seen from players in the comments. There are ways, if you look at some of the comments on the rollback post, which again was Thursday morning, there are some players who gave you some tips, some suggestions, depending on what kind of rep you get. You can get a rep in the US or the UK if you're persistent enough and you keep calling or having them call you until you get one. They can do it on the phone while you're on the phone with them. That's one thing. For a fact, they can do that. They also are able to see what you have, and they can restore items you lost if you get a good rep on the phone. They won't do it over email, but if you get a good enough rep on the phone, they are able to do that. And unfortunately, I don't know the secret to getting a good rep on the phone. I wish I did. You just have to be persistent and keep trying. But they can do that. It's certainly within their capabilities to do that. Pat wrote a post yesterday about having some patience. It is just a game.
Perspective, yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, Pat.
I was just going to say there's a couple of ways I look at this, and the perspective thing is really important because, again, life is way more than this game. We all know that. I say it all the time. People get sick of me proselytizing about the value of real life versus TSTO. However, part of that is also understanding what you're dealing with, right? So if we treat this thing like a disease, let's treat it like a cancer. Let's treat it like something horrible, because it is. It's a pretty bad glitch. If you get it, it's a bad deal. You really have kind of three ways to look at it. You can go, well, most of what I did was free anyway, particularly if you're KEM farming. You're going to get donuts back that you bought because you're going to have a valid trail with any receipt that you spent through however you bought those donuts with real money. They're going to give those back. Plus, they're giving you some bonus donuts. People that are complaining about the number of bonus donuts, my question keeps coming back to this thing. Did you buy those donuts or did you farm those donuts? Quit whining. But the real problem we have here is something that you just talked about. And that is that there seems to be a big disparity between what rep you get.
Mhm.
And so, again, using this disease analogy, if you have a carbuncle growing out of the side of your head, are you going to go to Billy Bob Starr, Dr. Nick, and go, okay, I'll do whatever you say, Dr. Nick? Or are you going to wait for the next doctor to show up that really knows what they're doing? Or are you going to force the issue? Well, in all things, you want the real expert. So do be pushy. Push yourself through if it's important to you, because there's a big difference between having somebody on the phone roll back your game, fix all your stuff, give you bonus donuts, and pat you on the head and send you on your way, and someone who says right away, no, we don't do that anymore, quit bothering us, you're out of your mind, get over it. Or even somebody that says, yeah, send us an email, we'll get to you in 30 days. That's idiotic. That's a level. And this is where I don't know where EA is on this thing. They clearly have levels of support. I'm going to guess a whole bunch of that level is grossly underpaid or free at the front end. And they don't know any more than we do most of the time. We've seen this happen many, many times. They really don't know more than we do. So you have to get elevated. You've got to go up.
A lot of times they'll tell you to go to our site.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. So if I'm really looking at this whole EA relationship, I will say it to anybody from EA that may be watching this. Here's the deal. We've been doing your support for 5 years. That's really the bottom line. We've been doing the heavy lifting of your support for 5 years. The least you can do is not torture the players that are trying to get help, and find a better way to get elevated to real support people, because you've got them. We've seen it. We have reports, and we know that they're out there. So let's find a better way to get traction, because this is irritating. You're losing a lot of players. A lot of players are throwing their hands up. Now, perspective, I know I'm ranting here, but perspective, I would just roll with it. It's just, if it happens to me, and again, knock on wood, I have not had it happen. If it happened to me, I'd just look at it and go, hey, I've been playing this game for 5 years plus, almost 6 years. Stuff happens. My whole life is full of things that happen. Everybody's life has things that happen. You can't just fold up the tent every time something bad happens. And in this situation, it's not the end of the world. You just keep playing. From what I understand, you don't lose a bunch of stuff. You lose the ability to get some of those, easy things that work for you, right? Is that the bottom line? Yeah, you don't lose
the character finder. You lose the tap radius.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah.
Which is irritating. Absolutely, positively irritating.
It's just like playing the game 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you can play the game. You can continue to move on, but be patient. Make it work.
It's like if your TV suddenly went to black and white,
Yeah, well, there you go.
It still works. You can still watch TV. It's just in black and white instead of color,
Yeah, I mean, again, so stuff happens in the world. You fall down, you break your arm. So for 6 months, you've got this thing in your arm. You adapt. You keep going. You keep playing, right? I don't know. Anyway, relax, people. Relax.
Yes. And it's been a while since we've had a massive bug like this. So, I mean, we haven't had a bug for a few years, like a big bug like this. So this is.
No,
every game gets bugged.
Those of us that played in the beginning, though.
Well, you
had to go back to the comparison. They would be out. There would be outages for 4 and 5 days where the whole thing would be dead, and we were all like, "Oh well, that's the way it." Okay, we're back on now. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Having without anything has been everybody's been spoiled, because now you start to have issues, and you're like, "What the? This isn't right." And it's just I get it, but you like you said, you need some perspective on it, and it's hard to have that perspective if you just started playing in the last year, because you don't know what it was like before all this stuff happened. So
it's why I wrote the other post last week about some of those big changes, the game changers in the game. These are things that we're so used to now. It's like cell phones. I mean, back when I was a kid, we had to crank our phones. No, I'm joking. It's not that bad. But I mean, it is the amount of technology and the way things have changed. We take so many things for granted on a daily basis. And it's the same way with the game. The evolution has been amazing from what it used to be to what it is now. Yes, some of it's annoying. Yes, game limits or item limits are annoying. There's all kinds of things that are annoying, but they're little teeny things. This is the first time we've had something that really is truly earth-shattering, and yet it's not that earth-shattering. You didn't really lose anything. You just lost some capability, you know.
Exactly. So, you know, if you missed that post, Thursday morning's post, so Thursday the 24th was the post about that in the morning. And the login issue was on Wednesday, so that was Wednesday the 23rd. So if you're having issues with that, that's where you can find that. And I'll try to link to both in the show notes when we're done here. So Happy Tapper says, beyond excited for this event.
I'm so surprised. He's the happiest tapper that ever was. I love that.
Ebron says, hey, Patrick, saw your visit to my Krusty Land. Was hoping we could use some of the empty land there. Seems like a waste if nothing in this event crosses over. And Charles says, my anonymous town survived a reinstall.
Yes.
I'm glad it survived for you, Charles, but I'm still not recommending it. Still not something I would recommend. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, Pat?
In regards to
anything we talked about?
Anything in general? No. I mean, I'm excited about the upcoming event. I think that this is going to be a big flip. Every once in a while, they do something that's kind of a quantum shift. I think this is going to be one of those quantum shifts. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hold on to your hats. It's going to be fun. Yes. Any way it comes down, it's going to be a big bump. So I'm excited about that. I will, on a personal side, on a Bouija side, I did post a place for books and supplies. Many of you have responded almost immediately. Thank you very much. We have about 10 days before we have to ship money off to them. So if you get a chance, you see it in your heart to jump into the fray. Every dollar helps. $5, $10, it doesn't matter. It all adds up. So we appreciate that. And I'm glad to be back home, but man, I miss Rita's. Can we get them as a sponsor? We'll get them to build one in Eugene. So.
Well, I told you when you were here, I was in and out. So
it seems like a good trade.
Get them. I'll get them to build a Rita's. You get them to build an in and out here, and we'll be good.
All right, seems like a good.
So it's Memorial Day weekend here in the U.S. So we're gonna take it's business as usual tomorrow, which is Sunday. So for Open Thread, but we're taking Monday off. So we'll have a post up Monday morning. You know, I'll still peter in, check out the comments, all that stuff. But you know, we need a day sometimes. So we're taking a holiday. So we need a day. So if you, maybe we'll still clear out comments and stuff, but there won't be any new posts on Monday, except for the one about saying that we're taking the day off.
I will add one more little personal aside. So those of you who followed the baby immersion with little Jake is no longer little. We're calling him Meat now. Meat. Because he's gained like 3.5 pounds in 3 weeks. He apparently has a very large head compared to the rest of everything else is 50 percentile. His head is like 75 percentile, just like Grandpa. So it's great stuff. Anyway, there we go. There's the baby report.
It'll be fun when he tries to roll over because we had that trouble with Riley. Because Riley's head has always been 95th.
Yeah.
But she's 95th for height and weight. Well, now weight, she's like 75th, but she was always 95 for everything. And she had a hard time rolling over. It took her a while.
She is growing like a weed. I saw the last post that you had of her helping with the laundry.
Yes.
She's huge.
Yeah. She's 2.5 going on 42. She's got the attitude to go with it too. Yes. So our next episode will be June 16th. We are on the one show a month track now. It's now that we're gearing up for summer. So our next show will be June 16th. That will be our only show in June unless something happens that requires us to break in with an episode, in which case we will announce. But the next episode will be June 16th. So that'll be fun. We'll be able to talk about smack dab in the middle of Itchy and Scratchy Land, and we won't spend 5 million episodes talking about the same event. So that'll be fun.
There you go.
We'll have one in June, one in July. I don't know what's going to happen in August, and I don't know what's going to happen in September yet. So stay tuned for that. And that's everything. Let me see if anybody else in the comments had anything to add, anything of value. No. Okay. So
anything of value. No.
Well, if they were just saying hi to you, Pat, I probably wouldn't consider that. Yeah.
Hi back. Hi.
All right, guys. So we will see everyone in June. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the first couple of weeks of June. Enjoy the weather if you're, anywhere where there's nice weather. If you're where there's crappy weather, hopefully you find something to do inside. And we will see everyone in a few weeks. Bye-bye, guys.
See you later.